All right. So Sheila, thank you for being here. Could you tell us a little bit about your family, your life up to this point?
Yeah,
Just a little
absolutely.
bit. Help us get to know you a little bit more.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you guys. So I was born in El Paso, Texas. I'm a Texas girl. So born in El Paso, Texas. My family moved. They didn't, want us to be raised in a different area. My dad was an electrician, so we kind of traveled all over the place growing up. And we ended up going to College Station. And then we moved into Leander, like a long time ago, back when there was still buffalo and or bison, back in Leander, there
So
was
are you
cows
an
everywhere.
Aggie though?
Yes.
Oh,
I know. I know
and the
that's such
crowd
a
goes
big
wild.
thing.
Okay, okay. I
I
just had to get
actually
that out there.
I crack up every single time that comes up because I sit there, I'm like every single time. So yes, I actually was. What's funny is when I went to elementary school here, I had my little suspenders that I
Yeah.
would wear, and everyone's like, "What in the world?" But it's because I grew up in College Station. Like I was raised there in elementary
Yep.
school, so we were very big into suspenders
Okay.
over there.
Okay, sorry. Back to Leander.
Yes. So yeah, I grew up in Leander from second grade, and then I graduated, into Leander too. And I didn't leave. I love this area, and I don't know. I knew that like college just wasn't kind of like my thing. I love to work. I love people, and I love being around people. So I would say it's part of my journey.
Mm.
I saw a little help wanted
Yeah.
sign in a martial arts school. I love martial arts. I love what it does for people and their growth. And my mom pushed me to call, and she actually dialed, and then she handed the phone to me.
Yes.
So it
Go,
was like
mom.
that. It was like that. No, I'll do it later, But
Uh-huh.
no, it was
She says
definitely
now is the time.
mother knows
Okay.
best, right? So I called. I had the craziest interview, and turns out that the person who was interviewing me actually ended up is now my husband. So it was
Wow.
really, honestly, I think one of those things where it was out of uncomfort,
Mm.
not being in that comfortable position. But then it ended up being honestly one of the best decisions that
Mm.
I've ever made. So, and through that, there's a lot that's happened.
Yeah. Okay, wait, real quick. How old were you when you applied and got the job?
I had just turned 21,
Okay.
and I'm now 32. I'll be
Okay.
33 soon. So
Okay, so
it's
tell us a
a
little
long
bit
time.
about that time when you
Hmm.
first started working there. Kind of maybe briefly like how God led you and your husband
Hmm.
to finally start dating and
Yes.
get married and all that.
Absolutely. I was really big into, so growing up, I'd say fortunately, unfortunately, I think it's what led me into where I'm at now. My parents weren't very big into the faith and going into
Mm.
church, but I think that that's actually really strengthened me where I'm at now and
Mm.
where I'm going with that too. So when I was growing up, my mom really used it to, teach my brother and I to be better people,
Yeah.
to treat each other with kindness and respect, and to treat our parents with respect. And, if we ever needed anything, we could always, pray
Mm.
if we needed help. And for me, when I was going through a lot of hardship and, especially in a different position, going
Mm.
into work and going into, you know, I was uneasy with everything. It was like, I'm not going to college. What am I going to do? So that I think started for me conversations where I had with my husband. Well,
Mm.
then not my husband, but
Yeah.
but we really kind of just connected and were magnetized to each other. We would go out to lunch and we would talk all the time about being able to push ourselves, what we can do to get better, constantly always having that conversation together, which was amazing to have that person.
Mm.
But I think that was also like a big thing. My parents were really big into making sure that you marry your best friend.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
was a big thing for us. And so before I ever wanted to get into that topic of marriage or moving forward with anybody, I wanted to know
Yeah.
that person. So for us, it actually didn't start until, oh my gosh, I would say maybe probably 6 years in. We were both invited to go to church
Mm.
together. And it was a really great experience. I will tell you that I sat in the parking lot and I cried.
Oh.
And I
After
didn't
or before?
before, and I didn't
Before.
know why I was crying,
Mm.
And it just was this overwhelming feeling where I just started crying in the parking lot in the back. And I was so hesitant to go in, and I was by myself. My husband was like, "I'm here. Where are you?" Or it's not he was
Yeah.
my, not my husband then. But he's like, "I'm here. Where are you?" So we were like gonna walk in together, and then I'm just like freaking out in my car,
Yeah.
and so I'm like, okay, so I mustered the confidence and energy, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna walk in, and it was a great experience. And you know what? I sat there and I was like, had tears in my eyes when we were doing worship in the beginning. And it
Mm.
was just like, I always tell people it's just this feeling in my chest, where it's like I felt like I knew like I needed to be there,
Mm.
but I
Yeah.
didn't know what I was doing, and there was nobody that I felt comfortable to guide me.
Okay.
I would say, unfortunately, we ended up going into following in some leadership that was not, it was not the best.
Yes.
I think influence that we could have gotten,
Mm.
but I think it's part of the journey.
Yeah. Yeah.
I have to always, I always tell God, I thank you and I trust you with your
Mm.
timing. And even on the positions where, they were a little less than
Right.
I, obviously, nobody wants to go
Right.
through, those things. But I think that it unveiled for me what it should be
Mm.
and what it could be.
Yeah.
And that was, I think, the biggest thing. So once we had that experience, it was such an amazing start. And then the end of that, my husband and I were both in a very toxic situation with a specific, church, and the leadership was going. It was
Mm.
it was a
Yeah.
lot. So we actually ended up just we're gonna
Yeah.
go,
Okay.
and we walked away together. And every year, we're resolutioners. We
Yes.
say we're gonna go to church this year. We're gonna find a church home. We are gonna go find something. Um, we looked
Yeah.
and looked, and then we ended up moving to Pflugerville. We still lived in
Mm.
Leander. We own a business in Pflugerville, and we were commuting back and forth, and it was a lot. Then COVID happened, and everything else happened, and then we started watching online. We
Mm.
kind of just watched online, and then I think that really kind
Like,
of
who did you watch? What did you watch online?
on
Did you just
YouTube.
like, okay,
We just clicked whoever was
clicked
live at the
whoever?
moment.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
It was like a lot of so
Yes.
whoever was live. Then my husband approached me again when we moved to Pflugerville. He's like, I think we need to find a church here in the area.
Mm.
I was like, okay. By that time we had gotten married in Pflugerville. We had been dating the whole time. Got married in Pflugerville, and we bought our house. It was very nice. It was like, oh yay, it was awesome. Everything's going great. And then you just kind of feel that emptiness
Mm.
again.
Yeah.
Like it's just that once again, it's that feeling that's in your chest where there's something just
Yeah.
missing. And especially when what I've learned recently, which was amazing, is that you're constantly being almost kind of like rubber banded back in to being
Mm.
like, I'm doing so great, but there's just
Yes.
something. So that was like a big thing for me. And my husband and I just couldn't put our finger on it,
Okay.
and it's just not something that we kind of sat there until, a couple of, I would say probably this past summer.
Okay.
It's just a lot. Work's
Yeah.
a lot. We're getting older. Family's health, people who are coming into you. People can be kind of dark
Mm.
sometimes. And for me, every time I had a conversation with someone, I kind of
Yeah.
sat there and was like, I don't think I want to be in this conversation. This is not what I want. Like I try to change the conversation and it
Yeah.
just keeps going into a different place. And I thought to myself, I need to do something that's different. And I looked at him and I
Mm.
was like, I think we need to go to church.
Yeah.
It's like I think we need to find a church. Um and I think that was the hard part, the hard
Yeah.
part and then the easy part.
Yes.
It happened really fast.
Yes. So tell us, like, what brought you to Parkway, how you found it,
Hmm.
and what your experience has been like here.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. So I'm a big researcher. I don't like to just, jump in with 2 feet sometimes.
Yes.
I love to look online. So I actually looked at for other people who have been in church. So I went to Facebook.
Hmm.
I went to all the moms groups and, the Facebook groups and seeing what people recommended. And honestly, Parkway came up so many
Mm.
times. Like so many times people were like, you have to go here. This place is amazing. I just
Mm.
started going. So, or there's people who are like, I've been going for, 8 years and it's the best thing I've ever done. My
Yes.
kids go, and that was also something really awesome too, is that they said the kids ministry is so strong. And I was like,
Mm.
that's amazing. We don't
Yeah.
have kids yet. However, I work with kids. And if I have the chance to be able to tell somebody, hey, you know what, here's my experience been
Mm.
here. So I saw a couple of, people who had mentioned it online. I actually was going to go to another church
Mm.
and my husband and I missed our alarm. It just was we missed our alarm, and we kind of were like, man, you know what? Let's watch the Parkway online, because
Yeah.
at that point I'd been watching online all of the on YouTube,
Okay.
going back and just researching, listening,
Mhm.
making sure, and I loved it. And I told my husband, I kept coming into his office. I was like, we have to go here. I'm like, we have to go here. I messed up the time. So I missed the first one. The second time, I was like, it starts at 9:45.
Okay.
That was my bad.
Hey, you had the right hour.
Yes.
You were in the right nine
Yes.
something.
It was around that area. We pull up. I see no one's getting out of their car. I was like, oh no, oh no. I pull it up, and I'm like, oh my gosh. I'm like, Andy, it's 9:15. He was like, well, maybe they'll still let us in. He's like, do you think? And I'm like, I don't know. I'm like, I don't know. So we both kind of sat in our car for a second. We were like, both like, no, let's just do this. Let's just go. Like,
Okay,
I'm like,
yeah.
there's someone still standing out there. We met the sweetest people at the door. They were so nice.
So they were still at the door
They
at
were
9:45.
At 9:45.
Wow,
And they were
okay.
like, we were like,
Aw.
so we waved, walk over them. They were like, don't even, I told them, I was like, I'm so sorry. I'm like, I
Yeah.
apologize. I'm late. I got the time wrong. They were like, don't even worry about it. They knew exactly where they were at in the sermon. They were like, we're still going through, worship right now. Don't even worry about it. They met us. They remembered our names. Like, it
Okay.
was, they sat us down in that short little time. He was like, we're doing first communion today. We're doing this. If you don't want it, it's okay. And he explained the whole thing to us.
Okay.
Like, it was like somebody who just held your hand through that process. He found us a spot. We sat down. We went through the whole service. It was amazing.
I love that.
It was amazing. And
I love that you felt welcome.
yes.
And
Yes.
even like they oriented to what was happening, what was going to be happening, and then helped you find a seat, which can be, because it can be so intimidating to get to a church and be like, I don't know if I'm allowed to go in. I don't know
Yes.
if there's going to be any seats available. And you feel like everyone's staring at you. They're really not.
Yes. Yeah.
But you feel like that.
Especially
Yeah.
if you're late.
Yeah. Well, especially if you're like, yeah, that too.
Like,
Okay.
hi. So yeah, it really was. And I think that's probably like that warm greeting
Yeah.
and that warmness that we were welcomed, and that was the biggest thing
Yeah.
for me. So the first point of contact, amazing.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
I love that.
It
And
was
then
awesome.
if I correctly, that happened again next week. You saw the same couple,
I
correct?
did.
And
Well,
they remembered your names.
Here's the thing. They had a baggie for us waiting for us outside when we left on the first day too. And they
Okay.
were like, this is our welcome bag. Like, and they were like, here's where our times are, our service. They're
Okay.
like, here's everything. I was like, they're like, we'll see you. They gave us hugs. And then they were like, have a
Yeah.
wonderful day. Like, I was like,
I
I'm
love
like,
that.
"Oh,
Yeah.
heck."
Yeah.
It was great. And then, yes, the next Sunday we came back and they were like, hey, Andy, hey, Sheila. And we were blown away. My husband and I sat in our seats and we're like, oh my gosh,
They remembered our names. I love that. I remember when
It
you were
was
telling me
awesome.
the story,
Mhm.
that part of the story just made me so happy and proud of the couple that just that they were there, they remembered you, they made you feel so welcome.
Yeah.
I love that. And I would hope that was a lot of people's experience, but I know
Yes.
it's probably not.
Mhm.
But I love that God was, so kind to y'all in that. That's amazing.
Absolutely. I mean, it felt exactly as we were supposed to be there,
Yeah.
like we were supposed to be there and
Yeah.
we were supposed to meet them. And I felt like that every single step of the way.
Mm.
On the first day we filled out the Connect card.
Yes.
And then the next day I got an email, and it was like, hey, like I'm praying for you and here's everything that we have and let me get to know you. Like it was just literally every single part of the process of being able to be welcomed in has been just amazing and has
Yes.
been so warming. And
I love that. And
it's
tell
been
us
great.
how you got connected then. Like
Mhm.
from your second Sunday, you saw
Yep.
the same couple, they greeted you by
Mhm.
name. Yeah. And then how
Yep.
were you able to get connected and
They told me we put a Connect card. There's a QR code.
okay.
Scan it. And then I also heard it in the sermon as well.
Mhm.
He was like, we have a Connect card. If there's anything you want us to pray over. I'm a big researcher, so I had questions. I went through, I had questions. I asked everything. And who was amazing? Scott answered every single one of them.
That's awesome.
Every single one of them. And then, once he got to know me more through the process of email, he said, hey, here's something else that we have for you. And then here's something else that we have for you. And here's another opportunity that you
Okay.
can also take advantage of. So that little Connect card that was inside of there meant the
Yeah.
world, because that is what opened me up to learning about honoring On-Ramp is, where I learned there was an app, to be able to sign up for women's Bible study. And
Yes.
I also signed up for the women's Christmas event. And
Okay.
I invited people to come in there so
Yeah.
that little QR code, that literally opened the door for me. And it
Mm.
was just reading through. At that point, I had already read through everything online,
Yes.
website, making sure that, aligning with values and goals
Mm.
and household and belief,
Right.
is a big thing. So I had already read through everything on there. I still drink my
Mm.
coffee cup and my little
Yeah.
Parkway cup. I do.
Yes.
It's in my
Tell
closet.
us about tell us about On Ramp. Like, how was that for
Yeah,
you? And then that led right into discipleship,
it
correct?
did.
Yeah.
That
Tell us about that.
was huge.
Mm.
I loved all of my people in On-Ramp. We were led by Bixler and Heather
Mm-hmm.
and Cindy and Willie, and it
Yes.
was such an amazing experience. And I actually made an amazing friend through there
Mm.
too. We keep up together in text message. We actually do
Yeah.
discipleship together too. So On-Ramp was amazing. It was literally being able to sit down and ask the
Mm.
questions that we needed
Yes.
answers to, but here's the cool thing is that it wasn't like we were sitting at a table together in like a white room on a white table and a white chair. It was like we were in like a living room
Yeah.
setting. So it felt so nice. And they had little donuts and coffee every morning. My
Mm-hmm.
husband's big on that. So, so he sat there and he was like happy, and my husband, let me tell you, like he started, I don't think that he's ever cracked the Bible open longer than a week, maybe a couple of
Mm.
weeks.
Yeah.
He now reads every single day.
That's amazing.
And that I like that's something that I've been praying for. We
Mm.
both pray together. We both read the Bible
Yeah.
together. We both talk about it together. Like, hey, here's what I've learned. Hey, here's what I heard today. And then we send each other,
Mm.
verses and videos. And I think through On-Ramp, that really for us, because we both kind of lack the confidence
Yeah.
in the
Yeah.
Bible, like where do I start? Where do
Mm-hmm.
I go? How do I look things up?
Right.
And going through On-Ramp and them just literally just sitting there telling you like, hey, like you are gonna have questions and it's okay, and you can come to us and text me and here's my number, like message me if you have any questions, or do you want to go out to coffee? We can go and sit and talk about.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
That's
Like it
amazing.
was just so amazing. We went through. We learned how to look at a verse. We went back. We learned how to be able to write it down, what it means, line by line by
Yeah.
line, and to dissect it. We talked about what it meant for us. How are we applying it, into our
Mm.
lives from there too. So On-Ramp was such for me as like a
Yeah.
newbie,
Yeah.
was so big for me.
Mm.
Like it
Yeah.
made me feel so much more confident. And I started, outwardly praying like out loud. It's something I've never
Mm.
done before. I've always just been real quiet about it. I've just been,
Yes.
at night or in the morning time by myself. And now I sit there and we were praying in the restaurant
Mm.
together. Like
That's awesome.
it was amazing. It was such an experience. And then from there we were asked, like, hey, would you like to take the next step into discipleship? And that like blew my mind. I was excited.
Mm. That's awesome.
It was amazing.
Yeah. So you feel like maybe the On Ramp gave you community,
Absolutely.
it gave you tools for knowing how to study the
Mm,
Bible, how to pray.
absolutely.
Also people that you knew,
Hmm.
like people on Sunday that you'd see and be like, hey,
Yes.
I know you,
Yep.
which is awesome. And then that led right into discipleship,
Yes.
which is awesome. And what would you say, like, if you could maybe do a pitch for discipleship, or say,
Hmm.
like, if anybody's out there and they're considering discipleship, like, what did
Yes.
it mean for you, and why would you really encourage others to be a part of that?
Yeah, I mean, discipleship for me, I mean, let alone from being able to just be able to connect and grow a closer
Mm.
relationship with God. That was the biggest one for me,
Yeah.
but on the flip side of it, as I'm learning, I also get to learn and pour into other
Mm-hmm.
people. So as my cup's being filled, it's overflowing because I can then
Mm.
love on other people.
Yeah.
I can also, look at people in the way that Jesus looked at people. Like that's such a beautiful thing to be
Yes.
able to look into the world, especially when a situation's not going the way, the world and things that are going around. I feel such more through discipleship. I feel more rooted in God than
Mm.
ever.
Yeah.
And I know that I am loved
Yeah.
and that I can also love other people
Mm.
and that I'm forgiven and I can also forgive other people. And that
Mm.
was a big thing for me too,
Mm-hmm.
being able to reach that as well. Discipleship also really helps me in being able to put together, programs that maybe I could also teach other kids,
Mm.
in the youth program, through martial arts, doing little punch and pray on there too, which is nice and
Yeah.
fun, being active and then being able to just pray over each other, like, and being able to just be kind to others,
Mm.
and I really think
Yeah.
kids need that for sure. But through discipleship, I think that it really levels you up, to
Mm.
be able to just open the conversation with people, and to have the confidence, to
Mm.
be able to sit at a table and to say, even to maybe an unbeliever, to somebody who
Mhm.
isn't there yet, or somebody who is maybe lukewarm like I
Right.
was, to be like, hey, like, he loves you and you are
Mm.
loved
Yeah.
and it's okay.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
Come
Yeah,
on.
I like that word that you used, lukewarm, because I feel
Mhm.
like we've been studying Revelation,
Yes.
obviously, and that word is used in there.
Mhm.
But to go from lukewarm to feeling now like you
Mhm.
really do have genuine life in
Yeah.
Christ,
Yeah.
and what a blessing that is to you, but then how you're able to bless others
Yeah.
with your genuine life in Christ. Like that's
Absolutely.
awesome.
It's amazing.
And then what brought you to from
Yeah.
on-ramp discipleship to women's Bible study? That's where we
Yes.
met, which has been a huge blessing to have you at my
Yes.
table. I've loved it.
Yes, that was
Um,
for me one of those things I had to just do it.
yes, because it was intimidating,
It
right?
it was,
Yes.
and my schedule's a little crazy,
Yeah.
so it's like taking out that time. I wasn't sure if I was going to do the morning or in the
Hmm.
evening, and I just decided I was like, I'm just going to do it. I'm going to go for the morning time. We'll see how it goes,
Hmm.
So I actually came in on one that was just a little bit shorter, which actually I think worked out
Yeah.
perfect, which was great, and it was probably one of my favorite subjects to go for is learning gratitude
Mm.
and being able to apply gratitude and learning how to apply gratitude every single day, but doing that in like a women's
Hmm.
setting, I've always wanted to. It's just very intimidating for me.
Yes.
Also, like I'm not gonna lie to you, I've been around just male dominated with
Mm.
men.
Yeah.
Martial arts, there's not a lot of women there, So I've always worked with guys. It's been hard for me to like be in like a women's setting. So that also was like
Mm.
very new for me. And it's been amazing.
Mm.
Like I didn't know what to expect, and I came in with just kind of like here. And the first day, you guys were so amazing.
Mm.
Everybody was just so
Yeah.
welcoming,
Awesome.
so loving. They were like, "Hey, let me get to know you," and then we all found out we have a bajillion hobbies.
Yes, yes, lots of common hobbies.
A lot of
Yes.
hobbies. And, it's like being able to just get to know
Mm.
women who are like minded, who want to make the world better,
Mm.
just want to be able to pour love onto other people, and just learning how to be able to get closer to God. And
And I
that's a big
think
one.
from like with women's Bible study, the really cool thing about it is not only community and
Hmm.
common interest and all that, but just the amount of time that we spend studying God's word, and
Yes.
that is the truth, right?
Hmm.
That's the truth. And so if we have a question, we try and find the answer in God's word, right? But
Absolutely.
also learning together is really
Hmm.
fun, and
Yes.
it's really cool. Like even last
Yeah.
week, we all picked out a different attribute of God that we learned
Yes.
from the study of Revelation. We did the same
Hmm.
homework, right? But we all
Hmm.
had something different to share, and it
Yeah.
makes your experience with knowing and learning about God so much deeper when you can
Hmm.
do that with other women too. It's
Absolutely.
really
It's like
fun. So
different
yeah.
eyes,
Yeah.
It's like everybody has different eyes. Like when we went through, man, what was it? Gosh, I can't put my finger on it. I think it was the last session that we did. There was a page of the homework that we all did. And like, yeah, everybody had something different
Yeah.
to say about it. Like it
Yeah.
was just so amazing. And I think
Mhm.
I told you, I'm not really good with like, I wasn't school. That was
Yes.
not my thing. I actually love doing the homework.
She's crushing. You're crushing it.
I love
She's
doing the
got her
homework.
different color highlighters and
I
underlining.
know.
Yeah, I love that.
I actually love it. It really, and like you said, it brings me closer. And it's not only, it's like building a habit for me, because when we went through that
Mm.
small little session of where it was holidays and everyone's traveling right in
Yes.
between, the Bible studies, I still break my Bible open,
Yeah.
because it's a habit. It's a
Yeah.
habit that you're building every single day. And like you said,
Mm.
being able to, if I have a problem or if I have a question or if I just need to just just tune everything else out and just zone in, on what I need
Yeah.
to do, I can sit there and I feel so much better. Like I
Mm.
feel so much better
Yeah,
for it. So,
I love
yeah,
that.
it's been amazing.
Well, that's really cool, Sheila. I feel like when I heard your story and I
Hmm.
heard how you guys went from Googling Parkway, watching online, to actually coming to the building,
Yeah.
to having that friendly, kind person that knew your name, to immediately
Yeah.
getting involved in on-ramp, right into discipleship, right
Yep.
into Bible study, and to see how God was really drawing you to himself and giving you a community of people who love him and want to help you love him and
Yeah.
grow. And then I've seen you in women's Bible study, not
Yeah.
only learning and growing, but you have so much to offer.
Yeah.
So much, like, you're just so encouraging, and you have your bubbly smile and
Yeah.
your giggle. And
Yeah.
just, it's been a joy. Yeah, a joy
Thank
to
you.
get to know you and to see how God is really, like, working and growing you in your love for him and
It's amazing.
trust and obedience. Yeah.
Thank you.
So,
It's definitely something I've prayed
hmm.
for a long
Yeah.
time. I have, I've prayed for this, and I think, I've shared that with you guys. I've prayed for a group like you guys. I've prayed for this life. I've prayed for it, and I'm so thankful. I thank him every single day.
Hmm.
Every single day I thank him for that. So
I love that. That's awesome.